It's embarrassing to us as a nation. All over the world, they're talking about Chicago. Afghanistan is a safe place by comparison.
President Trump taking a shot at Chicago's leadership during today's trip to the Windy City. That's his first visit as commander-in-chief. Protesters showing up, but the city's police superintendent skipping the president's speech today, and the mayor refusing to meet with the president. Matt Finn is live in Chicago with this story. Matt?
Dana, there's a pretty lively, large demonstration here that started outside of the Trump Hotel and Tower here in Chicago, and now they're wandering through the streets of Chicago, relatively peaceful. Lots of anti-Trump chants and signs. And back at Trump Tower, only a few blocks from here, the president is hosting a pricey private fundraiser scheduled to wrap up very soon. This is actually the first time the president has been back in Chicago since 2016, when, as a presidential candidate, his rally was canceled because of escalating tensions. Today, President Trump is returning to a city that actively takes a stand against him. A short while ago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot tweeted, quote, "It's no surprise that real Donald Trump brought his insulting, ignorant buffoonery to Chicago. Luckily, in this city, we know the truth, and we will not let anyone, no matter how high the office, denigrate who we are as a people or our status as a welcoming city." Also, Chicago's top cop is taking heat for snubbing the president by not attending the president's speech today at the International Police Chiefs Association conference. Here is the president a short while ago calling out Chicago's police superintendent.
Here's a man that could not bother to show up for a meeting of police chiefs, most respected people in the country, in his hometown, and with the President of the United States. And you know why? It's because he's not doing his job. I want Eddie Johnson to change his values and change them fast.
In a statement, Chicago's police superintendent said in part that he did not attend the president's speech here in Chicago today because of his racial insults that are cast from the Oval Office. And we understand that the police superintendent is speaking right now, perhaps responding to the president's words a short while ago. Dana.
All right, we'll catch up with you on that developing story. Thank you, Matt Finn, in Chicago for us. Fox News alert firefighters in California battling some very dangerous and destructive wildfires up and down the state. We have Team Fox coverage. William Lajeunesse on the latest in the southern part of the state. But let's start with Dan Springer. You're in Healdsburg, California. That's about 70 miles north of San Francisco, one of the most beautiful places in the country. Dan.
Yeah, and Dana, this is called the Kincaid Fire, and it doubled in size yesterday under fierce winds all day Sunday. It's now 85 square miles, and among the buildings that it burned was this historic winery that stood for 150 years. The building was here, but before it was the Soda Rock tasting room, it was a general store, a school, and even a post office. One man lived here in a studio. He got the word to evacuate late Saturday night around 9 o'clock. He told me just a few hours later, the building was a total loss. And that's really the big story here. People are heeding the warnings after 2 years of devastating, deadly fires here. 185,000 mandatory evacuations. We see very few people who stayed in their homes. Just getting around can be a scary adventure. We got video of a person crossing the Carquinez Bridge with a grass fire raging on both sides. That bridge was shut down for hours yesterday. Today, the winds are very calm, so firefighters will attack it aggressively. There are now 4,000 personnel battling it, plus several hundred police protecting evacuated areas from potential looters. They hope to have some of the evacuees back in their homes later today. Another strong wind event is forecast for late tomorrow into early Wednesday. Dana? All
right, Dan Springer, stay safe. Thank you. Team Fox coverage continues in Southern California. William Lajeunesse is live in LA's upscale Brentwood area. A wildfire just broke out this morning, and it was raging and big, William.
Yeah, it was fierce. I want to show you two things, Dana. Number one, look at these steep canyons. You see the homes along the ridge there? It's like that throughout this area. Different chimneys or chutes, if you will. Very narrow, very steep, very difficult to get a hand crew in there. We've seen a lot of water dropping, aircraft and helicopters here trying to slow this fire down. Secondly, when Rich is going to move over here to the right, this is part of the Santa Monica Mountain Preserve, largest urban park in America. It goes 65 miles long. So if they don't stop it here in Brentwood, it goes to the Palisades, then Malibu, then maybe Ventura. Here's some video from earlier today of the stringer along the 405, like you're talking about. A nightmare of a commute. They've closed part of the 405. Here is a map of the evacuation box for those who live in the L.A. area. Mulholland on the north, Sunset on the south, the 405 on the east, and Temescal on the west. Now, they've had to move that fire line twice this morning. 500 firefighters fighting this fire, about 3,300 homes under a mandatory evacuation, including LeBron James and former Governor Schwarzenegger. About 10,000 structures in that evacuation area considered threatened. Fire officials say that residents have been cooperative. Knowing the bad fires that we had the last 2 years, they seem to be following their evacuation orders.
We've been employing for years and years of Ready, Set, Go. I feel that because of that repetition of the amount of wildfires we've had here recently in Southern California, folks are really kind of getting the idea, and it's really worked out to our benefit, firefighters.
Air quality is pretty bad, burning eyes, runny nose, that kind of thing. The good news is, Dana, this is the only major fire in Southern California right now, so they can dump all the resources on it until weather is expected to get worse on Wednesday. Back to you.
All right, William Lajeunesse in L.A., thank you. Democrats apparently furious after President Trump announces the death of ISIS leader al-Baghdadi without alerting any of them to the top secret mission. Brett Baer weighs in up next.